Hello friends, in my previous lectures, previous lecture series, we have gone through three different lectures, and we have discussed about what is the need of outcome-based education. The first lecture was about outcome-based education and its need. The second lecture is was about program design, top-down approach, in which we had one. We started with the mission, POs, PSOs, COs, course outcomes, then unit level outcomes, and then lecture level outcomes. And the last lecture was about uh, the relationship between, if you remember, I will show you the diagram of the last lecture. So the relation or correlation between the POs, GAs, POs and COs. This was about the last lecture. So this is going to be my last lecture in this workshop. If possible, if any other topic is given, I'll surely try to present on that topic, but I will require a time. Uh, the need of curriculum design. This is the fourth lecture, and outcome-based education, need of curriculum upgradation. Why it is necessary to upgrade the curriculum, and in what way it should be upgraded. Uh, what should be the measures that we should take while upgrading the curriculum design? And there are many institutes, they take it seriously, they follow all the steps, and their results are excellent, you can see. And there are some institutes, there are some universities which are not taking care of all the discussed point, and sometimes they are doing the good job, they are trying to do well, but the thing is that they are not getting the results because of not defining the, it could be the outcomes, it could be the objectives, it could be the vision, mission. So what are the different possibilities that we need to consider? I'm going to discuss this particular lecture in very brief. So curriculum design, first of all, let us know about what is a curriculum. So the curriculum is a, you can say, written constitution of a detailed plan for, you can say, educational program through which the intended program educational outcomes are to be achieved. So what is the intention is, we want to achieve the we want to achieve uh, whatever that that we have said in the program educational objectives or program outcomes, or let us say program specific outcomes, or it could be course outcomes, or it could be mission, it could be mission, vision, mission statement. So this is constitution ki baba, what should be there to achieve that particular vision after 10 years of on the line, or what should be there. So it is just like that. Then about the curriculum design, a curriculum design is the way to plan, or it is a plan to scientifically design an outcome based engineering curriculum for employability enhancement and fulfillment of the industry and society. And we need to, which need to following the principles of curriculum development. Whenever it comes to the curriculum development, at that time we have some sort of, you can say, some people will do it in applying some rules, or some people will do by doing different things. The thing is that what we can do to design an effective curriculum design. And curriculum design, these are the preliminaries. We have to define properly all these things. This slide we have already seen. This is called as top-down approach of program design. And here in this particular design, we are discussing about the vision and mission of the institute, as well as the department. Already we have discussed about this, how to devise this. But this what we can say is, this flow is to be followed, and there are some points missing here. For example, program specific outcomes are missing. Unit outcomes could be there below. Course outcomes, there can be, you can say, uh, below course outcomes there can be unit outcomes, there can be some lecture outcomes and all. So it is very much important to understand all these things, and then go for devising the proper. So here I will say that the missing points could be program specific outcomes. Here it could be PSO. So for example, let us say uh, e- sorry, I'm handing it in the reverse order in the wrong manner. Let me take it properly. So it is here. Uh, so there will be some PSOs over here, and there will be some unit outcomes. There can be lecture outcomes and all. You can define them in further hierarchy. Next one is what is the need of curriculum upgradation. So understanding for this, there is what is happening is people will see that there is the technology is changing, society needs are changing. When I was 10 years old at that time, when I used to go to the bank at that time, the people used to have the registers, and if I, let us say, withdraw some money, he used to update it into the register, some notebook he used to have, and then whenever I used to put the money into the bank at that time, he used to update that money into the register. Then another new technology came in which the computers were started to use with the DOS like operating systems, in which everything was done on black screen, and you might have seen that particular technology. And then some Windows based technologies came in which graphical user interface was provided to all the users, and slowly internet banking came, which was not there previously, but later on it came. Then ATMs came, and then nowadays it is mobile banking, and ahead of mobile banking we have you can say some apps like Google Pay, or some apps through which directly you can do the bank transaction. So society needs and technology changes, and this can be discussed by considering an analogy of organism and environment. So if you see properly, what you'll find here is in in our society, there is an environment and there is an organism. Okay, what is organism? Organism is your curriculum, and the environment is industry. So in which industry you are working? So let us say if I'm working in Pune, and I know that Pune is a IT base, or if I'm working at a, let us say at a Bangalore, in a educational institute at Bangalore, and Bangalore is all about IT industry, IT and biotech industry. So sometimes it is happening that people will include this type of syllabus in non-IT branches also. So it all the syllabus will depend on this industry environment. What is the environment outside? So for example, let us say if you are residing in a company in a country which is agricultural, which is having agricultural based industry, 80% of the people are doing agriculture. In that case, what you should have in your syllabus? So if your industry is agricultural, what you should include in your syllabus? It is very important to understand. So what type of job your student want to do, and for that particular job, what you want to give to them, and this all becomes on the depends on the curriculum, and this is need of the environment. So we have to change this because of this one. So uh, so there will be some equilibrium. Equilibrium is like everything is going good, but some inequilibrium will come wherein the environment has changed. If the environment has changed, then organism need to be changed. So we have to redesign the curriculum. This is just like the example that I have given you. I used to go to the bank when I was 10-year-old. I used to go to the bank when I was 20-year-old. I used to go to the bank when I was 25-year-old. And today I do it from Google Pay and all. So this is very much important to understand. The environment changes. As the environment changes, the organism, or we are the organisms, and the industry is the environment. So we need to work as per the need of the environment. So what could be the environments and all? What are the different choices for the environment? So environment could be anything, like it can be IT industry. So if IT industry is my environment, what type of syllabus I'm going to design? If it is a if it is a IT industry, which is changing towards the mobile based technology, what syllabus I should have. If my environment is agricultural industry, even though I'm teaching to the IT students, I should make use of the environment. I should consider the environment while designing my curriculum. If I want to prepare my student for, let us say, scientist in ISRO. So in ISRO, you cannot just teach them some programming languages and you cannot make them work in ISRO. So ISRO requires some different type of thinking. DRDO requires some different type of thinking. So if you'll consider this as an environment, and if you'll decide your syllabus based on this, at that time your student sometimes may not get into the IT industry, or if you devise them in this way, they may not, only this way they may not go to this, or let us say security jobs like Indian Army or Indian Air Force. If you want to make your student into this, so only this, then this will be difficult for them. So whatever our environment is there, this is a universal set. There are multiple entities in our environment, and we have to consider the complete environment, and depending on that, we have to come up with the curriculum. Whenever the curriculum is needed to be changed, whenever we are in inequilibrium. Inequilibrium means the external environment has changed. So this is about what is the need. So one example of the need is mm, the effort of the organism. So organism is our institute, our curriculum, and environment is the industry, let us say. The effort of the organism to adapt itself to change the environment will lead to either the organism modifying itself, or the organism changing the environment. So there are two possibilities: either organism is changing, or it is try to change the environment. And if you try to change the environment, sometimes environment will not change. Sometimes environment will say that baba, today environment means industry has many options, so it will say that तुम्हाला change करायचं नाही तर we have other options, or both of them are changing. So it can happen in any of the three ways. The dissatisfaction with either the current state or perceived future state of environment is the main motivation for organism to adjust itself and attempt to be equilibrium with the environment. So every time it is in inequilibrium, this particular organism, it will try to make it equilibrium. It will try to update the um, curriculum. For example, 10 years back, we need not, we were not teaching some data analytics or artificial intelligence subject. Now we are teaching them. So that is the equilibrium we are trying to bring into our teaching. So the process of adjustment can take many forms. So one can be like, let us say, uh, attempts to change the environment or reject the environment, or a slow or incremental change in the organism using feedback, or change in organism in anticipation of the environmental changes to others. So it all depends on the organism and environment, whether it is equilibrium. Equilibrium is never, you cannot say the system is in equilibrium. So the industry constantly upgrades, constantly changes. So we have to, if this changes, we have to change this. So analogy is uh, to understand with regard to the industry and university curriculum. Okay, the change in curriculum. The industry is continuously changing due to rapid technological advancement, and we cannot ask industry to don't change. So there are two ways of looking this situation. So let us say the industry is changing, and what we need to do. So currently here it is a equilibrium, but the environment has changed. What to do? So there can be two situations. One is the university curriculum changes due to R&D being undertaken within the institution, and industry follows the curriculum changes, adapting the university patented invention and discoveries to bring about the development. This is the situation in several developed countries. So if you go to the universities of USA, or let us say Britain or Australia, all these institutions, what they are doing is they are changing their curriculum as per the need of research and development. Okay, and what we are doing this. That is the second alternative for the system, is to keep in equilibrium. Is that uh, the university curriculum has to be revised, redesigned in order to render its product, that is student development. We are only looking this aspect, and today we think that student should be employable and he should be good with Java. After 4 years, some other language would have come. So he should be good at Python. Then when he is completing the degree, at that time some changes have been happened. So we need to look into the longer this one. So and match with the continuously changing industry requirement. So our syllabus should always match with the changing requirement of the industry. This second, whatever this is there, this is happening in most of the technical institution in India. To make this matter worse, the considerable time lag in the curriculum revisions, redesigns, prevent leads to several unfavorable situations in the country that could be avoided. Therefore, the engineering curriculum change has to be proactive and dynamic. It should not be static. In many of the organizations, I have seen that they come up with directly the structure. There are some BOS. I have seen directly. I have observed that BOS is directly coming with the BOS chairman is coming with the structure, and he asked that you design a syllabus according to this. And there are some subject which require more emphasis. I know that I am teaching this particular subject, and he is saying that nahi, nahi, they this should be fitted in this particular this one only. So this is not a good practice. I don't want to put comment on anybody. I'm not saying there are not a good members, but the thing is that yes, some mistakes have been done at different levels, and due to which the unemployability is increasing in India. People say that in India only 15 to 20% of people are engineers are employable. So you can see the situation. Why? Who is responsible for this? So there is this um, curriculum is also somewhere responsible for this. So moving ahead, the distinctness in the industry. So what is the distinctness is there in the industry? If you see, in that case, what you'll find is there are different types of industries. So there are small industries, there are large industries, there are wage employed. Then there is specifically large group. 90% of total number of industries are either manufacturing industries or marketing industries or service industries. IT is a service industry. Mechanical engineering, if you are producing something, it becomes the manufacturing industry. Marketing is industries, if you are trying to sell something, then it could be a marketing industry. And 90% of the jobs are given here. And the much smaller group, there is another group which is working on research and development, and which utilizes 10% of the total number of industries. So this is the distinctness in the industry. We have to consider this distinctness in the industries also. uh, Moving ahead, uh, challenges in the engineering education scenario in India. So you can find that how many engineering colleges are there which are running in India? How many students out of it they are able to get the job? So about there are 3,300 engineering colleges, and their intake capacity is 15 lakh. Then academically weak students are also eligible to get the admission to the BE Tech programs. The quality of the engineering education is going down. The employment spree crashed like a pack of card, and unemployment level of all branches of engineering grades are stepped up. This is the situation in 2016, and surveys says that the employable graduates, there are only 15% employ 15 to 20% employable graduate. Being a engineering teacher, I will say that there are 30% employable graduates, because I know the situation. So curriculum is worth mentioning that if the document containing just the list of topics, it is not just saying that there is a list of topics, and even if the instructions hours are given, it does not become the curriculum. It should remain as a syllabus. it still remain a syllabus for that particular educational program. It should also be noted that the topic name could be the same in the syllabus of several occupations. Sorry for that mistake that I have done. Such as for ADASIN or diplomat or undergraduate or PG educational programs. Generally, the syllabus format, which consists of the topic name, does not consider the treatment of the topic and depth and breadth to which the topic has to be taught, and the related practical to be formulated and conducted require for that professional. So this is about the curriculum. This is the curriculum life cycle. So let us say my uh, I'm going to take the admission for 2019. Let us say now it is 2020. Currently, we are going to have the admission in 2020, and my whatever the 2020 is going to take the admission, it is going to have their degree in 2024, and I have to plan it. So in 2020 I should give them the curriculum, and whatever the curriculum that should be given in 2020, that should be planned since 2018. So I should, in 2018, I should think of what uh, mm, job opportunities could be there in 2024. What are the different scenario, what scenario can happen in 2024 for my particular course and for my particular program. And uh, there over there first what I have to do is I have to identify the need. What is the need, what could be the need in 2024? Then I should come up with the curriculum documents. Then I should update these things to the university will say something that update this and give the updated this one. They will also give some suggestions, and then these are the students who are taking the admission to your course, and they will be doing their 4-year course, and in 2024 they will be passing out, they will be getting their degree. If this is properly planned, we can I will say that we can surely improve the employability. And if it is not done properly, then it will, again the people are saying that in engineering only 15% are employable. Tomorrow they will say that 10% are employable, and this will continue. So it is our task, it is our responsibility to take care of the curriculum. This is about the curriculum life cycle, and this is about the stages in curriculum development. So the stages in curriculum development are we should plan the curriculum, we should design the curriculum, we should implement the curriculum, and we should evaluate the curriculum. And at each step, we should take the feedback from the stakeholders. So stakeholders as well as the expert persons. So this is a life cycle, rather I will say. So these are the, so curriculum planning is it is just like if I am giving admission for 2020, what should be 2024 situation, and what should be the syllabus today I should give it. So the syllabus, the curriculum updation should be dynamic in my view. So every year it should change. That is very important. But there are some restrictions in our university. It changes in once in 8 years, or sometimes it changes once in 4 years. So what an institute can do in that case? Yeah, at least autonomous institutes should go for dynamic curriculum, and they should try to change it at regular intervals. They should do the need analysis, and they should change the syllabus accordingly. So in my summary, in the summary of these lectures that we have considered, we have discussed about. So we have discussed about the need of outcome-based education, and in that outcome-based education, why it is needed, and what is the need of outcome-based education. And also we have discussed about uh, the program design, top-down approach, and we have discussed about what different types of outcomes: the program outcome, program specific outcome, and course outcome, unit outcomes, and their relationships. We have, in the last this particular lecture, we have discussed about need of curriculum updations. And since the about the curriculum updations, I want to say that since the industry it requires frequent, so industry is going through frequent changes, so why not the curriculum can be frequently changed? This is one thing. The second thing is that the generic common curriculum will not suffice in the present industrial scenario. We need to take care of it, and it is the high time that that needs of MMS and R&D type industries are addressed by the engineering institutions. Though innovative curricular changes accommodating the opinions of the stakeholder to improve the employability. So generally, who are coming to as a stakeholder to your institute is some industry person. He's coming and he say that the students should know about the agile technology. But what about the R&D skills? Is there we are considering about R&D skills for the students? So that is very much important. So in overall this I would like to add on that outcome based education is the need of future, and dynamic curriculum as well as outcome based education will increase the employability among the students. So planning it properly, there are, as we have already said that there are many people who are sitting inside a single, there are 4 to 5 people sitting in a cabin and they decide the vision, mission, and POs and POs within 1 hour. So that should not happen. You should have a proper connection with your stakeholders, and you should make use of all that connections, and you should define a proper set of rules and set of instructions and set of, you can say, proper algorithm, I will say, to devise all these things, and look into the dynamic syllabus upgradation. So with this I end up my session on outcome based education. I am very much thankful to you all for taking my course, this particular course, and I hope you get connected to me for your queries. Even if you are not getting connect, you are even if you are teaching computer science engineering, my topics are computer algorithms, finite automata, and discrete mathematics, information security. In this regard also you can contact to me, and we will work together, and this will be a very helpful, so win-win situation for all of us. Thank you for getting into the communication. Thank you.